तदा muktiryadā cittaṃ न vāñchati न śocati न muñcati न gṛhṇāti न hṛṣyati न kupyati tadā bandho yadā cittaṃ saktaṃ kāsvapi dṛṣṭiṣu tadā mokṣo yadā cittaṃ asaktaṃ sarvadṛṣṭiṣu yadā nāhaṃ tadā mokṣo yadāhaṃ bandhanaṃ tadā matveti helayā kiñcinmā gṛhāṇa vimuñca. Second verse, tadā muktiryadā cittaṃ. Freedom is attained when the mind does not desire or grieve, does not reject or accept, does not feel happy or angry at anything. This is the just reverse of the earlier verse which talked about tadā bandho yadā cittaṃ. It was said that what are all things means bondage. So it is all reversed in the second verse, and then if all those things are not there, then it is freedom. So first verse talked about tadā bandho. This verse talks about tadā muktir. Few lines from Chinmaya's commentary. In one line, that is the state of freedom which is opposite to what has been described earlier as the state of bondage of the mind. The state of freedom cannot be attained unless the mind discovers the source of a greater bliss in itself, so that in its utter satisfaction, the mind gets no more tempted to gush out to embrace the sense objects. Purna Upanishad says, there is no freedom found either in the outer space or in the nether kingdom or on the surface of the earth. It is found only in the mind, in which all desires have dried up. When desires are conquered, the march of thoughts ceases and the mind ends. This is the state of freedom. Next verse. Tadā bandho yadā cittaṃ saktaṃ kāsvapi dṛṣṭiṣu. It is bondage when the mind is attached to any of the sensory perception. It is freedom when the mind is detached from all sensory perceptions. Here in this verse, commentary of Chinmaya, Ashtavakra completes his thought by suggesting that a seeker should carefully cultivate a sense of detachment from his outer world of perceptions. The world of objects have a terrific enchantment over the human mind. Even if an individual is capable of ignoring the demands of his inner mind, the outer perceptions can generate devastating sensuous storms in the mind. To live susceptible to the various perceptions is ignorance, and it will bring about bondage. To learn to live in detachment of the perceived world is freedom. Unquote. The same senses which play an important role in our lives and which in many ways extend our reach and influence in the physical world are viewed rather negatively in the spiritual world. They are considered a major source of ignorance, delusion, bondage, and suffering. Because they can only show us the surface world. They prevent us from knowing the deeper truth of who we are and what is our true nature. They draw us into the world and think more and more of it and become more involved with it, whereby we develop desires, likes, dislikes, beliefs, prejudices, attachments, and so on. The fourth verse, yadā nāhaṃ tadā mokṣo, yadāhaṃ bandhanaṃ tadā. Translation goes like this. Where there is no ego, nāhaṃ, there is freedom. Where there is ego, aham, the lower aham, there is bondage. Knowing thus, stop from accepting or rejecting anything playful. Till the time this aham, lower aham, the mindness or the asmita is there, avidya cannot be removed or transcended. Body, mind, identity has to be totally transcended once for all. Remember the instruction which he gave to some of you from Bhiwadi, where he asked you to visualize two persons sitting side by side, one a jnani and one an ignorant jiva. And he also asked you to visualize how the world of objects tries to attack both of them with all its offerings. And he explained, only difference between a jnani and a jiva is that the jnani does not perceive whatever is thrown to him by the world of objects, whereas the jiva perceives all of them. To be totally free from aham, the lower ego, is total inability to perceive anything which comes from the universal mind, from the individual or collective vasanas of the world. Once you perceive, then all or any of the little things which we dealt in the first verse, little desire, little attachment, little hatred, etc., etc., they may crop up. Firstly, a little sense perception, and then a little desire, a little happiness, a little sorrow, a little attachment, a little aversion. And Ashtavakra has clearly conveyed through these 4 verses, any of these little things is equal to bondage. None of these little things, not perceiving any of them, is freedom. For a liberated yogi, everything exists in him as himself without any duality. He sees the whole world as his own creation or an extension of himself, in which he is only playing different roles. He is the subject and the object. He is the giver and the receiver. He is the bhakta and the bhakti and the Bhagavan and the sacrificer and the sacrificed. Rather, from the message which is sent to few of you after the Tuesday bhajan practice, it goes even beyond the above paragraph. He is not the giver and receiver. He is beyond the giver and receiver. So he is beyond all of those things which are given in the earlier paragraph. He is beyond the subject-object. He is beyond the devotee and devotion. He is beyond the sacrificer and the sacrificed. And lastly, he is beyond even bondage and liberation. Which means, at that state, there is no relevance of the 4 verses even of this chapter. May all of us reach and exist at that state in this birth itself. Beyond everything, beyond even mukti or bandha. May we reach that state in this birth without having to be reborn to suffer another birth. Hari Om Tat Sat.